Imagine a world where the echoes of Roman legions still resonate across the globe. A world where the Pax Romana never truly ended. What if the Roman Empire, instead of crumbling under its own weight and the pressure of barbarian invasions, had found a way to adapt, to innovate, and to endure? Today, on Alternatify, we're diving deep into a fascinating what-if scenario. What if the Roman Empire never fell? We'll explore how Roman ingenuity, law, and culture might have shaped our modern world in unimaginable ways. From technology and politics to language and art, prepare to witness a reality where the eagle never ceased to soar. But it's not just about imagining a glorious, unbroken empire. We'll also confront the potential downsides, the challenges, and the dark corners of a world still dominated by Roman power. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew about history, because this is Alternatify, and we're about to rewrite the past and the future. To understand how the Roman Empire could have survived, we need to pinpoint the critical moments of its decline. The late 4th and 5th centuries were a period of immense pressure. Barbarian migrations, internal corruption, economic instability, and a series of weak emperors all contributed to the empire's fragmentation. But what if a few key events had unfolded differently? What if the Western Roman Empire had found a way to effectively integrate the Germanic tribes into its military and political structure, rather than constantly fighting them? Imagine a scenario where competent generals like Stilicho or Aetius were not undermined by political intrigue, but instead given the resources and authority to truly stabilize the borders. Perhaps a more pragmatic approach to governance could have made all the difference. Instead of relying on increasingly corrupt and ineffective central authority, the empire could have decentralized power, granting greater autonomy to regional governors. This would allow them to respond more effectively to local threats and foster loyalty. Another crucial factor was the economy. The Western Roman Empire suffered from chronic inflation, excessive taxation, and a decline in trade. What if the empire had implemented sounder economic policies, such as investing in infrastructure, promoting trade, and reforming the tax system? Imagine a Roman Empire that embraced innovation and technological advancements. By addressing these key weaknesses, military vulnerability, political instability, and economic decline, the Western Roman Empire could have bought itself valuable time. Time to adapt, to reform, and to ultimately survive the tumultuous centuries that followed. Let's assume that the Western Roman Empire managed to navigate the turbulent waters of the 5th century. What would a surviving Roman Empire look like in the centuries that followed? It wouldn't be a simple continuation of the old ways. Survival would necessitate adaptation and innovation on a scale never before seen. One of the most significant changes would be a cultural renaissance. The rediscovery of ancient Greek and Roman knowledge during the Renaissance played a pivotal role in shaping modern Europe. In our alternate timeline, this rediscovery would happen much earlier, within the Roman Empire itself. Roman scholars, artists, and engineers would build upon the foundations of classical learning. Imagine Roman universities becoming centers of learning, attracting students from across the known world. They would study not only philosophy and rhetoric, but also mathematics, astronomy, and medicine. Roman engineers would develop new technologies, inspired by ancient texts and fueled by a spirit of innovation. The Roman military would also undergo a transformation. The traditional Roman legion, while effective in its time, would need to adapt to new forms of warfare. The empire would invest in developing new weapons and tactics, incorporating elements from other cultures. Imagine Roman armies equipped with advanced siege engines, crossbows, and even early forms of gunpowder weapons. But perhaps the most important adaptation would be in the realm of politics. The Roman Empire, in order to survive, would need to find a way to address the growing demands for greater representation and participation in government. This could involve the creation of a more representative Senate, with members elected from different regions of the empire. This wouldn't be a smooth or easy process. There would be resistance from the old guard, from those who clung to the traditional ways of power. But in order to survive, the Roman Empire would need to embrace change, to evolve, and to become something new. Now let's fast forward several centuries. Imagine the world in the 15th century, the age of exploration. But instead of European powers like Spain and Portugal leading the way, it's the Roman Empire that dominates the seas. With its advanced shipbuilding technology and its vast resources, the Roman Empire would be ideally positioned to explore and colonize new lands. Roman explorers would sail west, discovering the Americas long before Columbus. They would establish trading posts and colonies along the coasts of North and South America, bringing Roman culture, language, and law to the New World. The impact on the indigenous populations would be profound. While the Roman Empire was not without its flaws, it generally practiced a more tolerant form of colonialism than many European powers. Roman law emphasized the rights of conquered peoples, and Roman culture was often open to incorporating elements from other cultures. However, this doesn't mean that Roman colonization would be without its challenges. There would still be conflicts and tensions between the Romans and the indigenous populations. The spread of Roman diseases would have a devastating impact on native communities, and the imposition of Roman rule would inevitably lead to resistance and rebellion. Meanwhile, in Europe, the Roman Empire would face competition from other rising powers. The kingdoms of France, England, and Spain would still exist, but they would be significantly weaker and less influential than in our timeline. They would be constantly vying for power and influence, but they would always be overshadowed by the might of the Roman Empire. The Byzantine Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire, would likely have been reabsorbed or become a close ally, sharing in the benefits of a unified Roman world. This would create a truly formidable power, stretching from the Atlantic to the Black Sea and from the Sahara Desert to the Baltic Sea. So what would a world dominated by the Roman Empire look like in the 21st century? The impact would be felt in every aspect of life, from the legal system to the architecture of our cities. Roman law, with its emphasis on reason, justice, and individual rights, would be the foundation of legal systems around the world. Concepts like due process, the presumption of innocence, and the right to a fair trial would be deeply ingrained in legal traditions everywhere. Roman architecture, with its emphasis on grandeur, functionality, and durability, would have a profound influence on the design of our cities. We would see more buildings constructed with concrete, arches, and domes, creating a sense of timeless elegance and strength. The Romance languages, Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italian, and Romanian, would be even more widely spoken than they are today. Latin would likely be the lingua franca of diplomacy, science, and international commerce. Roman art, music, and literature would continue to inspire artists and writers around the world. The themes of heroism, duty, and the pursuit of excellence would resonate across cultures and generations. Even in the realm of technology, the Roman Empire's legacy would be felt. The Roman emphasis on practical engineering and efficient infrastructure would lead to the development of advanced transportation systems, sustainable energy sources, and innovative solutions to environmental challenges. But let's not paint too rosy a picture. A world dominated by the Roman Empire would not be without its challenges and consequences. The Roman Empire, like any empire, was built on conquest and exploitation. Social inequality would likely be a persistent problem. The gap between the rich and the poor could widen, leading to social unrest and instability. The Roman system of slavery, while gradually evolving over time, might still exist in some form, creating a permanent underclass. Political oppression could also be a concern. The Roman Empire, even in its more enlightened forms, would likely maintain a strong centralized government with the potential for abuse of power. Freedom of speech and expression could be limited, and dissent could be suppressed. Cultural stagnation is another potential risk. The Roman Empire's emphasis on tradition and conformity could stifle innovation and creativity. New ideas and perspectives might be suppressed, leading to a lack of progress in certain areas. Environmental degradation could also be a serious problem. The Roman Empire's vast appetite for resources could lead to deforestation, pollution, and the depletion of natural resources. The long-term consequences of these environmental challenges could be severe. And of course, there would still be conflicts and wars. Even a dominant Roman Empire would face challenges from rival powers, internal rebellions, and barbarian invasions. The Pax Romana would not be a guarantee of perpetual peace, but rather a period of relative stability punctuated by periods of intense conflict. So how would our world be different if the Roman Empire had never fallen? The answer is, in countless ways, both big and small. Technology would likely be both more advanced and more limited in certain areas. The Roman emphasis on practical engineering could lead to breakthroughs in areas like infrastructure, transportation, and energy. But the lack of a scientific revolution in the same way as our timeline could hinder progress in areas like physics, chemistry, and biology. Culture would be deeply influenced by Roman values and traditions. Art, music, and literature would emphasize themes of heroism, duty, and the pursuit of excellence. Philosophy would be grounded in reason, logic, and ethics. But there might be less emphasis on individualism, experimentation, and self-expression. Politics would be shaped by Roman law and governance. The emphasis on reason, justice, and individual rights would lead to more equitable and stable societies. But the potential for political oppression and social inequality would always be present. Language would be dominated by Latin and the Romance languages. English, German, and other Germanic languages might be less widely spoken or even extinct. Latin would be the language of science, diplomacy, and international commerce. Religion would be a complex mix of Roman paganism and Romanized Christianity. The traditional Roman gods might still be worshipped in some form, alongside a version of Christianity that is more closely aligned with Roman values and traditions. The map of the world would look very different. The Roman Empire would control vast territories in Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Other powers like France, England, and Spain would be significantly weaker and less influential. The balance of power would be dramatically altered. In the end, a world where the Roman Empire never fell would be a world both familiar and strange. We would recognize many of the same landmarks, institutions, and cultural traditions, but they would be shaped by the enduring influence of Rome. Our cities would be filled with Roman-inspired architecture, blending ancient grandeur with modern functionality. Our legal systems would be grounded in Roman law, ensuring justice and fairness for all. Our languages would be infused with Latin, connecting us to the wisdom of the past. Our technologies would be shaped by Roman engineering, providing us with efficient transportation, sustainable energy, and innovative solutions to environmental challenges. Our cultures would be inspired by Roman art, music, and literature, reminding us of the values of heroism, duty, and the pursuit of excellence. But we would also have to confront the darker aspects of Roman influence. The potential for political oppression, social inequality, and cultural stagnation would always be present. We would need to be vigilant in protecting our freedoms, promoting equality, and fostering innovation. The legacy of Rome would be a double-edged sword, a source of both strength and weakness. It would be up to us to harness the best of Roman civilization while avoiding its pitfalls. Only then could we create a world that is both prosperous and just, a world worthy of the name Roman. So, what if the Roman Empire never fell? It's a question that invites us to imagine a world both wondrous and unsettling, a world where the echoes of the past resonate in every corner of the present. While we can never know for sure what such a world would truly be like, Exploring these what-if scenarios allows us to gain a deeper understanding of our own history, our own culture, and our own potential. It reminds us that the choices we make today will shape the world of tomorrow, just as the choices of the Romans shaped the world of their time. The Roman Empire may have fallen in our timeline, but its legacy lives on. In our laws, our languages, our architecture, and our values, we can still see the influence of Rome. And perhaps by studying the rise and fall of this great empire, we can learn valuable lessons about how to build a better future for ourselves. Thank you for joining me on this journey into an alternate history. I hope you found it as fascinating and thought-provoking as I did. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think? Would a world dominated by the Roman Empire be a better or worse place? What aspects of Roman civilization would you like to see preserved in our own world? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Alternatify for more mind-bending what-if scenarios. Also, let me know in the comments what other alternative history scenarios you'd like me to explore. The possibilities are endless. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.